Previously on Thank You Internet.
I would look up to Film Cow as much as I would look up to anybody else.
Hell yeah,
Right.
Batman. Hell yeah.
Were you just doing the Jason voice? Was that?
Yeah. My
yeah, man. I can't even do it. It's always that.
Oh man,
There's
Batman.
always
I
someone
thought you
who's
were gonna
like,
be
"Oh my
cool,
God."
Batman. I thought you were gonna be cool.
Please do that. I want that.
We'll have to do that with Jason Steele.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, because his episode's actually coming on a week after yours.
He's gonna be on the show.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh yes. Will you ask him for me?
And now, back to Two Nerds Talking.
Hello and welcome to Thank You Internet.
A sincere love letter to everything the internet has to offer.
My name is David Spencer.
And I'm a big fat stupid baby.
I would have loved to do the same, but I cannot do a Jason Steele impersonation.
It's okay. It's
Like-
just fucking stupid.
Like, whenever I try to do one, it ends up sounding like Greg from, not Greg, yeah, the Gregs from Teen Girl Squad.
Yeah, four Gregs.
I can take my shirt off. That's not Jason, like, I try to do Jason, that big star stupid, and it just sounds like, I can take my shirt off.
Blinding VoIP.
And this has been, thank you, YouTube impersonations.
All right, my name is Michael Hunter.
Oh, right, we didn't say your real name
Yeah,
yet.
it's all good. But hey, here I am. It's a thing.
We are about to talk to Jason Steele, creator of Film Cow, Charlie the Unicorn, Llamas with Hats, to hit it with your car.
Yeah.
And of course, Detective Heart of America,
Yes.
The Final Freedom.
Detective Heart of America.
It is wonderful.
I'm so stoked to talk to this guy.
Seriously, we're about to talk to, like, the guy.
The dude. We are about to talk to
Like, one of the internet,
The guy.
like, when you think of people who make stuff on the internet, like, Film Cow, that's at the top of your list.
Well, honestly though, full disclosure, when we were creating that huge list,
peek behind the curtain.
a peek behind the curtain. When we were doing that huge list, Film Cow was the first name on that list.
First name we wrote
First
down.
name we wrote down, and now I'm happy to cross that off.
You know what this means, Michael?
What?
It's all downhill from here.
Oh boy. Well, we got a lot of ground to cover, and we better do it fast before we just crash and burn.
But yeah, no, seriously, I'm really excited. And in fact, you know what? We talked a lot, and I want to just jump right into it.
Let's do
You
it.
know, let's not waste any time. You're here for Jason Steele, and it's going to be awesome. So here is the interview. Jason, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Jason, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited. You're like, this is like one of the godfathers of the internet that I'm it's a little nerve-wracking. I wonder if like somebody's going to have a hitman out on me, but I'm pretty excited. It's going to be great.
Yes, I'm an ancient power from deep within the bowels of the internet.
Oh, jeez.
Occasionally I rise up and smite things.
So for anybody who for the off chance that somebody in our audience isn't familiar, which is probably maybe just one person, who are you? Where would people know you from?
I am Jason Steele. I do videos online under the name Film Cow. So I did Llamas with Hats and Charlie the Unicorn and some other various assortment of things.
And my new favorite, Detective Heart of America, which was amazing. And
The Final Freedom.
The final, like the movie. Of,
Yeah, it's a feature-length adventure.
yeah, hour and 14 minutes long, hour and 15. Yeah,
74 minutes.
and of pure gold.
Yeah, it's my standard for feature-length films is They're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
Oh, jeez.
So as long as it reaches around that level of like, because that's a short animated film, but it's still released in theaters and was considered okay. So I'm that's the number I'm sticking with.
I
There
think
you
technically the definition of feature film is like over 42 minutes, so you're almost twice as long as the minimum.
I know.
That's like extra credit right there.
I'm an overachiever.
A+ for America. So Jason, before we dive into all of your work and asking you all about that, what was your first earliest memory of the internet?
America Online.
Oh, geez.
I had an AOL account. That was when the internet had web pages and keywords. It also had its own forum. There was like these forums that were AOL only, and also this whole section where you could post files and stuff for people to download and rate. And I used to release like little independent games and movies and stuff there.
Oh, really? Oh, so you've been making stuff long before YouTube.
Oh yeah. My first things were released on the AOL only file server to other AOL members.
That's awesome.
Was that like your spatula videos, or was that even before that?
Oh, that was well before that. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Is there any of that content that's like out there for people to find?
I don't actually think so. I have like the old games that I made are available somewhere on my site in an archive somewhere. And then the old movies I think are literally nowhere except for like a hard drive.
Huh. Well,
it's all gone. They're no good. You shouldn't. You're not missing anything.
You don't want people to go on like a treasure trek for the lost like Film Cow videos.
I mean, you can if you want, but like some of them are really, really bad. It's like 12-year-old me with what is probably literally one of the very first webcams ever created.
Oh, that's awesome!
Oh, wow.
Trying to film adventures with it, and they're pretty bad.
That's awesome.
Well, we all got to start somewhere. I immediately connect with that. I'm like, yep. I've done something like that with David, actually.
So okay, your videos, like for anybody who's seen Charlie Unicorn, which if you've ever been to the internet, you've probably seen it, or any of your videos, like you have a very, very unique sense of humor. And I think this is a funny question to ask people only because somebody asked me this in a job interview once and it was threw me off. But how would you describe your sense of humor?
Like inane, I guess. I don't like, I think the thing that I play with the most, is like the combination of the really kind of mundane with the ridiculous, which is probably way back to my like Monty Python influence. Like I grew up watching a lot of Monty Python and I just loved how much their skits dealt with really boring jobs and things like that. And so that definitely influenced the videos that I've made.
Yeah, I think a great example of that is the video you released about the Joker getting the tattoos with the new Joker about, because like that is a perfect situation of just like, you know, the what would go behind that, and that's such a perfect blend of like ridiculous things and like a really mundane setting and like the monotone voices of of so many of your videos. I think really fits that so well of just like the talking about ridiculous things in a really kind of like mundane way. That's awesome.
When I saw that Joker shot of like the new Joker with his cool tattoos, I just thought, man, that is so boring. That is like, you have to think about how that happened, how he ended up with those tattoos, and that story is just really not cool.
Definitely.
It's like, that is just a Joker fan. That is not the Joker. That's someone who's like super grew up watching the Joker and was like really into the Joker and decided to get some sweet Joker tats. It's yeah. So
and you got that out like ridiculously fast. Like the turnaround on that. Like I remember talking to Dom Farah on the show about that, and we were just both blown away. It was like you were just on it. It's almost as if you timed that perfectly.
Yeah, well, I knew that was one of those jokes that wouldn't work even like a week later. So I had to get that out super quick. I took a lot of shortcuts. The mouths are mouths that I drew for another cartoon, and the background is a background I made for another cartoon that I just kind of blurred so you couldn't really tell what it was.
Okay. Well, it's all good. And I feel like I quote that. I quote, I'm just so, because I'm so messed up, you know? Like, all the time.
I'm just so messed up.
Yeah. Which...
I'm just so messed up, you know? Yeah.
Oh, man. So, Is there any specific reasoning in the decisions you make in your videos, or is it just whatever you find funny, kind of like a Mad Lib of sorts?
Oh, it depends. Like some of them there's like definitely a point that I'm making with the video. The Loneliest Platypus, there was definitely intention behind all of that. And some of the videos are just a concept that I found funny. The Doctor's Office, which is one of the spatula videos.
Yeah.
I just really found the idea of a doctor pulling like a magic trick balloons out from behind your head. I thought that was a really funny concept. So yeah, some of them are just stuff that I think of and make me laugh, and then some of them are have an intentional point behind them.
Awesome. So kind of like going into your like sort of origin story, I think with the, you were making this stuff for AOL, and then with YouTube and Charlie the Unicorn, when that blew up, is that something that you really anticipated happening? Kind of what was your reaction to all the insanity behind that?
Yeah, that was weird, because that wasn't even like YouTube was something that I was ignoring at that point, because way back when this was happening, YouTube was a pretty terrible place to put videos if you weren't doing like it was it was square videos. It wasn't even widescreen at that point. It was 4:3. The resolution was 320 for everything. The compression was awful. It was just a terrible place to put stuff that you wanted to look good. And so I was releasing all of my animation and stuff on Newgrounds at the time. And someone grabbed Charlie the Unicorn from Newgrounds and put it on YouTube, and it started blowing up from there. And I only became aware of it after it had kind of started blowing up.
Oh,
and
really?
People started emailing me, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize this was on YouTube, and I checked it out, and it had like 800,000 views at that point, and I was like, whoa, that is a lot. And it just kept blowing up from there. Definitely not something I anticipated.
Well, did you feel like you had any pressure with that because of your sudden popularity to like create?
Yeah, the only time in which I've really ever felt pressure about a video I was releasing was Charlie the Unicorn 2. And it wasn't so much like pressure to not disappoint people, because ultimately, like, I don't release something unless I'm personally happy with it, and that's generally enough for me. But I was really feeling the pressure of, oh God, I could screw up everything. If this is bad, it's all over.
Well, yeah, because like Charlie the Unicorn, like when I think it just like caught everybody by such surprise. Like it totally makes sense that like everybody's like, a sequel to this, like this better be The Empire Strikes Back to Star Wars. Do you think there was any like specific thing? Like, do you have any idea what it might have been about Charlie the Unicorn that made it such like a lightning in the bottle, like kind of internet phenomenon?
Well, with all that kind of stuff, it's usually the right thing at the right time. So that was a time in which those sorts of videos could get really big on the internet. It was silly, it was ridiculous. That was something that did really well on the internet back in those days. the late 2000s.
Going back to the like mid to late aughts.
Yeah.
Seems like such a long time ago.
Way back in those ancient times. So it was land. It's definitely not something like, if I released something exactly like that today, it would go nowhere, because it's the internet's kind of over that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was just the right thing at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it did, like, it came at that time where it kind of, I mean, YouTube was in its early days, and and it kind of like really helped define like the climate of YouTube, of internet cartoons for the next like 5-10 years or so. Yeah, cool.
No, definitely. I
a very important historical piece of work
in the history of the internet. It's a timestamp. I mean, you also went to the YouTube convention, like the first one, right? Well, I can't remember what the name of it was, but you did like a whole promo for it.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, because like actually, so I did a video for YouTube Live. That was their big. They made this big event where it was called YouTube Live. They had a bunch of popular YouTube things there, and they put on this whole big show. So they actually asked me to make a promo and a video for the event, which I did, and they didn't invite me to the event.
What?
So I wasn't actually there. They had me do a promo and they had me do a video for it, but they literally didn't invite me.
What in the world? Is it because like everything you did was animated and they had like mostly live act like people as faces that people would recognize more?
Yeah, I think that was literally it. And like I didn't want to be on stage or anything, but it would have been cool to like
it would have been cool to at least been invited.
But that's animation, you know. That's kind of with the career.
Yeah, I get you. But anyways, that's still kind of an honor to the fact that the first ever big YouTube thing like you were a part of. Even though you weren't there. But well, okay, so getting back on track, what was your favorite short or series that you've animated? Like which is the one that you just have a soft spot for?
I think probably like I don't think there's like a specific series that I'm super attached to above others. But there's a couple of videos in particular, like I really like how Marshmallow People 2 came out. Like the tree at the end of that is one of the favorite things that I've done.
Yeah.
And I really like Gods of Olympus, which is an older one.
Mm-hmm.
And The Doctor's Office from the Spatula Madness series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just a few videos like that where I think I executed the comedic vision that I had the best.
Is it something where, like, some of the ones that, you know, I mean, the ones that are most well-known, Charlie Unicorn, Llamas with Hats, like, you didn't list as your favorites. Is that something that ever kind of frustrated you? That, like, why aren't people liking the ones that I like the most?
No, like, you know, people are gonna like what they like, and I'm glad that people enjoy whatever it is that I make that they enjoy. I'm glad that people watch the stuff that I put out in general. Like the original Charlie the Unicorn, I think is one of those things that I don't think it's necessarily that good. Like it hit at the right time, but I feel like it's one of those videos that people 10 years from now are going to look back on and not really get. It's like watching like films that are like super 80s or super 90s, and it's like if you didn't kind of grow up watching it, you don't really get well, like, what made it special.
I think with like Charlie the Unicorn, it's just so endless. Like every quote in there is just like, or things that people like would quote incessantly, and there's so many like little catchy things about it, and it like really does feel like a lot of those 80s comedies where people like love to quote certain lines, but then you watch the whole movie and you're like, you know, Weird Science doesn't actually hold up that well.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel that way about Charlie the Unicorn, definitely. And there's a couple like Llamas with Hats, I feel is reasonably solid. Like I think that's a good execution of that sort of comedic duo. So I'm happy with that series. And I'm really happy with the sort of arc that ends up happening.
Yeah, because that went into some really interesting, unexpected places.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was kind of the, you know, audience reaction to following those 12 parts and just, like, the places you took, not only those characters, but that you kind of took your audience with that?
It was a little painful for me because I knew where it was going. Because, like, episode 5 through 12 is part of this arc that's happening. And I knew where it was going, and it had to kind of get worse first for the arc to work. And so it was interesting putting up the videos and being like, yes, these are not as funny as the previous ones, and that's kind of necessary. And so putting those up and seeing the comments and stuff of like, the series is getting worse, I'm like, oh man, you just have to wait. Just wait, and I can't let you know.
So you like, when did you have that plan in place to go the the dark direction of the ending? Like, when did you figure out that's where you wanted to go with the series?
I think around 2011, I think.
And how how far into, like, how many of the Llamas with Hats had you made at that point?
The first 4.
Oh,
so
okay.
like originally Llamas with Hats was going to be 5 episodes.
Gotcha.
That was well, okay, originally it was going to be 1 episode. I had a I was briefly living in New Orleans, and I had a friend whose family owned a bunch of shops that sold photography prints. And my friend was like, "Hey, if you have any ideas for a photo series, yeah, let me know. We can sell them in the shop." And I was like, "Llamas with hats." We'll go to a llama farm. We'll put these fancy hats on some llamas and take some photos of them, and we'll sell them. It'll be a big hit. And my friend vetoed that idea. Thought that nobody would be into that, and I was very sad. So years later, I'm trying to come up with a video idea, and that concept of llamas and hats popped into my head, and I wrote the script for what became Llamas with Hats, and that was gonna be a one-off video. And when it got popular, I was like, yeah, I can do some more of these, and I planned out 4 more, and it was gonna end. The problem is, it was gonna end with the llamas on the moon watching the Earth explode behind them.
Oh, and,
wow. When I released Llamas with Hats 4, everyone guessed that was going to be the ending.
Ah.
And so I felt really silly. I was like, oh, man, my audience, like, a lot of the suggestions people make are not very good. So if everyone is suggesting this, then I think I have a problem. And so I just never made the 5th episode because it was too obvious.
Yeah.
And eventually, I don't know how long it was after the, I think like a year later, I was talking to my partner Scuffy, and the suggestion came up to just have the llamas explode and die. Scuffy's not a big fan of llamas with hats, and I started thinking about that, and I was like, you know what, having them die would actually be a good idea. And that eventually evolved into what ended up happening, where I was like, the only way that I can kind of still surprise people, because no one's gonna be surprised by the escalating Carl stuff.
Yeah.
But I could surprise people by having everything get really sad and depressing.
And giving Carl actually some amount of heart and emotion.
That ending is so sad, man. Like, I was sitting there going like, what?
That like series was BoJack Horseman before BoJack Horseman.
Oh, that's yeah.
That is
of like weird animated that gets really dark at the end, and you're like, I don't know what I'm watching right now.
Yeah, so it was way funnier to me than just having Carl continuously escalate stuff. Not so funny. Like, it works. I think it works for the first 4 episodes, but after that, it's like it just wouldn't continue to be surprising anymore. But what would be surprising is just a very slow decline into sadness. And I think I think it works. It makes me giggle thinking about it.
Have you seen a lot of the I mean, there's a lot of theories floating around in the internet about like dissecting that series, and our friend Vinny at YouTube Explain put out this great video about it. About just kind of like people kind of talking about that video as kind of like almost kind of a metaphor with like your relationship with an audience, but I think also just any artist's relationship with their audience of just like kind of that back and forth and that like trying to figure out how to please somebody. Like, do you think there's any validity to those thoughts?
Yeah, I've seen that stuff. They're mostly like they mostly get it. I think the only thing is like it's definitely not like a fuck you to the fans or anything.
Yeah,
it's not me flipping off the audience. There's a lot of stuff in it that's kind of trying to explain within the videos why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is like, this would not be funny if this kept going on forever.
Yeah,
this would literally just turn into Garfield. It would.
Oh, geez,
it's like what is surprising and interesting stops being that when you kind of repeat it over and over again. And so, yeah, there's definitely that. My intention was definitely to kind of show that and have it go in a different direction.
The reason it's funny is because you weren't expecting it, and if you keep expecting it, it's not going to be funny anymore.
Well, after seeing the sad ending with Llamas with Hats, I only dread what's gonna happen with the Ghost House series.
Oh man, you're gonna. Yeah, I have a plan for the Ghost House series.
Oh Christ, no! Oh God!
Jason's just gonna, like, as he's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna start winding down making videos. every character is gonna kill themselves in every series. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh god, no. My girlfriend and I love watching Ghost House. In fact, like my my ringtone for whenever she texts me is "oh shit," and and I'm like, oh gosh, no. Okay.
Yeah, no. So I have this is a little sneak peek.
Ooh,
I do
exclusive.
have the end plan for Ghost House, except it's not the end. It's a prequel.
Oh,
I have a prequel planned.
what? Okay.
So when you're watching it, you won't even know it's a prequel.
Oh.
You won't even know it's connected to Ghost House. It's just gonna cut a lead there.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my
That's
god.
awesome.
That's coming one day.
So you gotta like just watch. Now, see, that's gonna be a problem because now like every single one of your videos, like, is this a prequel? Is this gonna lead into it? I don't like. This could be it. This could be the one.
Oh jeez. And another thing I wanted to bring up too. I know we didn't have this necessarily in our lineup of questions, but can we just talk about your app for a second? Like the not the mysterious oh god, now I can't remember the manor one.
Oh, the mystery of Westington Manor.
Right. What was the response for that?
I think most people got it. Because like that whole video series is just anticlimax.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be really funny to make that into a game. Apple rejected it. I couldn't publish it on the Apple Store. They said not enough content.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, this is art. Don't you understand?
It was, I mean, I showed it to. Well, first of all, like my girlfriend and I are huge fans, and so I told her about the game, and she's like, "Oh my god, give it to me!" And so like I gave her my phone, and she's playing with it, and she's like, "Damn it, I died!" And I'm like, you got to keep trying, like you have to plan it, and she's like, "Okay, don't move it. God damn it, I died!" And I'm like, and I just kept laughing. I'm like, that's the point. You're not supposed to win. So definitely, that was a good 40 minutes of hilarity.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough joke games.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I completely get that.
You know, it can still be a game if it just ends in a punchline punking you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a 30-second joke game. Why not?
Yeah.
It's got to be free. You can't charge people for that. That's a scam at that point.
Yeah, highway robbery.
Yeah, free, no ads, you know.
Yeah, there you go. How has your audience changed over the years? I mean, obviously you had like the people in the beginning with like the Charlie the Unicorn phase, or even before that with Newgrounds.
Oh, it's I feel like it's like a weird mix now where I still have a lot of younger fans coming on and watching the videos, and then I also have people who were fans from a long time ago still watching, and so I think like the biggest change is that there's a broader age range watching now.
Oh yeah,
which is interesting, and it sometimes ends up being weird because like I'll release something that a lot of the much younger viewers don't really get, and but the older audience does, and then I feel there's probably stuff that I release that the older audience doesn't appreciate as much because it's kind of very silly.
And now you've kind of like built this community with your Patreon subscribers, and it's and which is like a really cool thing that's been happening with internet content creation in the last couple of years, is like people's communities getting a little bit more like kind of focused in and being able to support the users directly. Was it a transition at all to kind of go from, I mean, as YouTube licensing has changed, as figuring out things like Patreon, like has it been difficult to try to kind of like figure out how to keep everything kind of running?
Yeah, the biggest challenge has definitely been YouTube has changed their priorities. So like YouTube doesn't really work as a platform for animation anymore. It hasn't for a couple of years now, because they definitely changed their focus to be more about longer videos, so like long vlogs or video game content, things like that. And so a lot of the way that the site is designed now supports those sorts of videos and doesn't really support animation.
Oh, okay.
Because like their algorithms prioritize view length with videos. So a video that's an hour long will always have priority over a video that's 2 minutes. And so it's hard to get, like I have a little over 1 million subscribers, but a very small percentage of that ever even sees that I've released a video because YouTube generally prioritizes other stuff in their timeline. So it has been pretty hard to keep the financial stuff of it going, which is where Patreon comes in. Patreon has definitely been like a massive help in keeping that going.
No, definitely. I as soon as you said that, I kind of realized that I have to actually get notifications in order for me to know when you upload a video anymore, because I didn't even put two and two together that was the reason.
Yeah, I didn't even know that like video length was like something that I'm. That'll be like. I wonder why they prioritize longer videos. I imagine they'd want shorter. You can watch more shorter videos in a span of time.
Well, I mean,
it's just a. Like, so they made a couple of changes. So in 2011, they changed the site to, they got rid of their front page, where they used to have a front page that was, it would show you like the top favorited video and the most, the videos that had the most likes and stuff like that. And that was actually really good for animation, because like a video I would put out would almost always get the top favorited spot, because, it was a video that I spent a month on, and that would get more favorites than like a vlog that someone put out, and so I was able to get a lot of sort of new viewers that way. Then they changed it and made the front page just your subscription list, and at that point it was still okay. My subscribers were still seeing my videos, but I wasn't getting a lot of new viewers. And then they made another change where they removed the subscriber list from your front page, and so your front page was entirely algorithm based.
Oh, that's right, I remember that.
And at that point, even my subscribers weren't seeing the videos anymore, and because YouTube realized, smartly for them, bad for me, that they could get more views by using an algorithm to show people videos than by showing them the videos from the people they subscribe to.
Yeah.
And so I think like YouTube, that ended up growing the number of views on YouTube in general, but it did make it a lot harder for videos that took longer to make to get the viewership needed to sustain it.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and then they made another change with the algorithm where they prioritize longer videos, because a lot of the longer form videos now have like interstitial ads, so you'll have like ads in the middle of the video and such, and the longer videos also get like I think they get like a higher ad rate too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like most of the videos that I see at the top of my list nowadays are Let's Players or people who spend like 45 minutes to an hour
that do have ads, throughout. But with Detective Heart of America, you just put this out. That's definitely a longer form video. But as I recall, there was, at least in the version I saw, there was no ads throughout. Was that?
No, that was intentional. I didn't want to break up the movie like that.
Yeah. Now
it's like I could make more money, but at the same time, I feel like it would ruin the experience.
Yeah. Well, with with the decision to make that, we've just been talking about kind of the whole technical aspects of YouTube. Did that kind of play into your thinking to making an hour-long thing, or
No.
were you kind of more like it's time to shake it up and just do something entirely different?
Yeah, that was because I actually ran a Kickstarter for the Heart of America movie. Like in 2013, I think. And that was a reaction to YouTube, where it was like, man, it's YouTube is definitely not bringing in enough to sustain this content. So I started the Kickstarter to fund that movie, and just as a sort of way to do something bigger, because it's like YouTube's only going to show the videos I release to a small percentage of my viewers.
Yeah.
So like if I put out a video that took me 2 weeks, then it'll get 150,000 views. If I put out a video that took me 2 months, it'll get 150,000 views. So it's kind of, it's become this weird thing where like I want to be doing longer videos, I want to be doing longer things, but it's kind of not financially possible. To do that, because I have to get a certain number of things out, because YouTube's only going to show this video to a certain number of people.
But have you been finding kind of more freedom in that with things like Kickstarter and Patreon and this crowdfunding services?
Yeah, I mean, like Patreon has made it possible to just continue releasing stuff, because without Patreon, each video I release would probably bring in like $100. And considering I can release like 2 videos a month, that means like $200 a month for working all the time on animation, which is definitely not enough.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the Patreon has made that sustainable.
Well, let's go ahead and jump out of some of the technical and back into the fun stuff. So kind of what went into like making Detective Heart of America? Why did you want to make that film?
Well, I wanted to make some movie, and I was like, man, but I still have to make stuff for YouTube.
Yeah.
So what can I make? What can I make that I will be able to make while at the same time be releasing on YouTube regularly? And Detective Heart of America popped into my head. I was like, I can probably make that a movie, hopefully. So I ran a Kickstarter, not really knowing 100% that I could make the movie, but being pretty sure. I was like, I'll wing it. It'll all work out. Don't worry about it. And I ran the Kickstarter, got the funding for the movie, and made a movie with a bunch of eagle statues.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, how many Heart of America figures did you go through? Like,
I think we broke around 20 while filming the movie.
Just the movie.
Yeah.
So what about the rest of the series then?
It was usually like two or three, I think, for each short. Yeah, I think about that much. Okay.
So where did you find these? Or I mean, like, you don't have to say specifics, but if you don't want to.
It was the origin. Okay, so you have to understand the origin of Detective Heart of America. You remember a couple years ago there was a viral video that was viral for like one day, where there was a baby in a like park, and an eagle swooped down and attacked it.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was and I had an idea, sort of like the Joker's new tattoo sort of thing, where I was like, I'll make something that's very topical about that, but I need an eagle statue and a baby doll. And so me, Scuffy, and Chris walked out to some various stores and looked around and tried to find some stuff, and we found the baby, but we didn't find an eagle. And then a couple days later, Chris went to Hobby Lobby, and he found this ridiculous eagle statue there and purchased it. And I was like, that's perfect. But at this time, the video had died down already, and it wasn't really going to be funny anymore. So we scrapped that idea. And then, I think a couple weeks later, I was like, what am I going to do with this freaking eagle statue I have now? And I came up with that idea to do Detective Heart of America. Although I saved the baby for the second episode, because I was like, I don't want people to make this connection between this and that baby video now.
Oh, that's hilarious. Like, just putting that in context. Like, I almost wish that that Detective Heart of America, like, I don't know, you do like a dub over the
over the original
video. Detective Heart of America saving the, and just the baby just being dropped. Oh my gosh. So what were the trials and tribulations in the process of making that film?
Oh, honestly, like making the movie was not super hard. Like filming in Florida heat was pretty difficult, but
Especially
like overall,
for oh man, now I can't remember the character's name, but the guy flipping the skateboard around with the Capri Suns.
Yeah, Brendan.
That's his name, Brendan.
yeah, that was Chris. Yeah, good old Chris.
Good old Chris. But okay, so but it went fairly smoothly. You were saying?
Yeah, so filming went smoothly. Everything went smoothly. The honestly, the hardest part was that YouTube had made a bunch of changes in the meantime. So like, I had to do a lot more work to kind of keep the channel going than I expected to. I launched the Patreon while I was making the movie, and so I just had a lot less time to work on the movie than I expected. So like it just took longer. Yeah, it was hard in the fact that I had a lot of work to do, but not hard in the fact that it was not a particularly complicated movie, because it is ultimately a bunch of inanimate objects standing there while I film them.
Like if you put that video on mute, like I really want to just like somebody is just moving little like garden gnomes around. What's going on?
Yeah, then the hardest part of editing it, honestly, was just making it, like, it's harder than you would think to make it obvious which character is talking when none of the characters are moving or have mouths that move. So, like, it takes a lot of specific editing to make it clear who is talking at what time.
What are some of those, like, editing or camera tricks you use to kind of achieve some of that?
So in editing, there are things called L cuts, which is like you cut before or after a character starts talking. Because like if you cut just when a character starts talking every time, then you end up with this really like robotic edit. And so L cuts are generally great for normal editing, but L cuts presented a big problem in editing this, in that if you have another character who sounds like a character who's currently on screen, then it becomes confusing. And so I actually had to do just a lot of straight cuts between characters when their dialogue started to make it make sense that that was the character who was talking. And so it just took a lot of finagling of that to make it not seem super robotic in the edit.
Yeah. Gotcha. And I noticed there's like a lot of like super, like you have to keep things really close. Like I don't think there's very many shots where there's more than one figurine in the shot and all the really quick cuts, but it adds to the energy of it all.
Yeah, I was about to say, when everybody got into the hotel room, I was like, oh, this ought to be good. Like immediately I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so many toys and figures in the room. And that scene in particular was the hardest to edit, because it took so long just to make that make sense, just to make the scene visually and auditorially make sense, because there's a bunch of characters in there who sound exactly the same too.
As you point out numerous times of just like, don't you guys have the same voice?
Yeah. So there's just a room full of inanimate objects with similar voices. That took a lot of effort to make it make sense.
That's awesome.
But how did you go about choosing those lawn ornament big fat stupid babies for your videos? Like, did you find them, or did they kind of find you?
Come knocking on his door?
There's a lot of going to thrift shops and stuff and finding weird things and being like, oh yeah, this is a weird looking Santa Claus. I'll take this. I'll use this at some point. So some of that stuff I had already. Just kind of, I have like a bunch of shelves with props and stuff on it, and I have a container with a bunch of these weird dolls, and so a bunch of those I had, and then some of them I got from thrift stores, where the idea is basically you look for stuff, and occasionally I find something, and I'm like, yeah, this looks weird. This will work. I don't know exactly what I'm going to use this for, but I'll use it for something.
So did you kind of find yourself like building the story and the script around whatever weird figures you could find?
Kind of. So I had like the first step in making the movie. Like I had an idea for what the plot was going to be, but that was it. So I had like a vague idea of what I wanted the story to be about.
Of Fug and Fug Americans?
It wasn't even that. Like that came way later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like the original concept I have was someone's trying to buy America. That was the whole idea. The whole idea for the movie. That was it. And so I went out and found a bunch of figures and props and stuff, and then I was like, okay, so I'll make a basic structure for this movie now. And so I wrote out like a scene list of like where the story would go in every scene that we would need. And after that, we went out and filmed a bunch of stuff at those different scenes. And then after it was filmed, I wrote it. So this is kind of an experimental movie in that I wrote it after shooting it.
So, so wait, you like did the bobbing for the characters and stuff without knowing what dialogue was going to be there?
Yep. Yeah, there was the only dialogue that was written before the movie was shot was for the opening scene, because there was it was the opening scene and I needed to be like a little bit more visually coherent.
Oh my god.
I wish you could see the look on Michael's face right now.
Like,
yeah, there was no dialogue for
that's crazy
for the entire movie. And so what we did to get around the fact that the movie wasn't written yet while we were filming it, is just getting lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of shots, and then just tons of the characters moving around in different ways so that I could edit together like a bit of movement that matched the dialogue at the time.
That's crazy.
That is a testament to your genius, Jason. Like, I could never have done that. Like, there's no way. Like,
I don't think there's many people who have done that.
Oh my
god. It's not a great idea to shoot a movie before you've written it.
That's so
but
so
I wanted
crazy.
to see if I could do it, and
you did it.
It works mostly. Like, it's not
God.
I think, ultimately the movie would be better if I'd written it first before filming it, but I wanted.
So you just kind of like went through and were just like, okay, now I'm going to do a scene with Detective Heart of America and this figurine, and now with this figurine, and we'll figure out what like the actual like. Did you even have an idea of what order the scenes would go in, or you just made a bunch of shots and saw what fell?
Yeah, I had a basic scene order, so I have an outline for the movie, which is literally just I think it's a list of 35 scenes, because there's a total of 35 scenes in the movie. So it was like a bulleted list, 35 scenes long, and so I knew the order that things were going to happen in. I didn't really have the characters fleshed out, so like Gorslax, like I knew the Gorslax was Reggie's mom. But I didn't have anything, and I didn't have the name Gorslax.
And you didn't know she was like a temporal being.
No, I didn't have anything about her character written. And the same thing goes for most of the characters in the movie, where it's just like
great.
I knew who they were in the movie, and that was about it. So like Brendan, I was like, well, yeah, I'll have Brendan. Brendan will be some super cool 90s thing. And but that was as much as I had planned out. I didn't know where Brendan was going to fit in the story. I just knew, well, Heart of America will go talk to Brendan at some point, and then Brendan will lead Heart of America to the next scene.
Just the transition somehow.
Oh my goodness. So what was the process of writing it then? Like, cause it does seem very much like, like the crazy amount of jokes that would be in a 3-minute YouTube animation. Just like, did you kind of like write it, kind of just scene it every 3 minutes at a time, and then come back and fill in more jokes later? Or
yeah, the nice thing about filming something like this, where you have a lot of shots and the characters aren't really moving or have mouths or anything, is that in writing there's something called punch up, which is where people go after the thing has been made and kind of add in extra jokes where they can. But usually it's like, it's hard to do punch up with traditional videos or animations, because you're limited. Like, you have to have a character who's off screen or something saying something. It's just, with this movie, it's like it's all punch up, because I can add in or take out lines whenever I want without having to refilm anything.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so that was nice. That's how it was kind of able to be so quick with the jokes when I wrote it after filming it.
That's awesome. So at the time we're recording this, it's been out for what, like a week and a half now? What's kind of been the reaction to it so far?
People have liked it. I was really worried because it came out like a little over a year after it was supposed to, because the YouTube stuff happened. Like a lot of the YouTube changes happened after I had launched the Kickstarter, and I suddenly found myself with a lot less time than I thought I would. So it ended up taking a year longer, but I didn't actually spend like a year extra worth of time on it. It was just I had so much less time to work on it than I thought I was going to have. And so I was really worried that like people's expectations were like so much higher now. Because it's like if something takes a year longer than you expect, then you're kind of anticipating a year's of additional quality added to it. And so I was really, really worried that I was going to put it out and people were going to be like, oh, we waited this long for this. But no, people seemed to like it. People were happy with it. So
yeah, because like
relieved.
At first glance, it looks like something that can be made in like a week.
But honestly, after all of that explanation, the amount the amount of work
the amount is insane and is so great.
Oh my gosh.
I think I'm gonna like have to rewatch that as soon as we're done here tonight, just to like I'll get a whole new appreciation of everything. That's so amazing.
Oh gosh, but and this is another thing too. I have to say this while we are talking to you. So I know that you use the same voices for a lot of the characters, but especially in scenarios like this where you have Fanny and you have Gorslax and you have a few of these other characters, like even though it's the same voice, it works for the character. Like it's almost uncanny. Like I'm sitting there going like, oh okay, yeah,
that's exactly what a friggin' baby's gonna sound like.
Gorslax trapped in a rift again. And I'm like, oh my god, and it just I don't know. Maybe it's just the way you write them, but it just works. Also, I applaud you for bringing in Fanny and Earl. I was like, I was wondering when they were gonna make some sort of crossover appearance.
I wanted to have some character from another Film Cow series in the movie, and those are kind of the only ones that made sense.
Yeah,
those are the only ones in which like there could be a legitimate crossover.
Yeah, I was saying either that or the puppets that you have. Just they bring in like a Biscoff spread and then that's it. Like it's made out of fucking cookies and then that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Michael's been spending this whole interview trying to find ways to insert his Jason Steele impersonations.
Shut up, David.
It's a good one.
Well,
it's uncanny.
Well, it's not uncanny. It's no, I mean, I just, that's the thing. Like, I can't not do your voice when I'm quoting your videos.
Well, because those, like, and I think that's a great thing with your work, Jason, is like how, like, unique so many of the voices you do are.
Yeah, and I do specifically write around the voices that I can do. Like, I don't have that many voices. I have like a handful of them. But my writing definitely goes along with the voices I could do. And it's kind of, some of it's intentional. Like some of it, I enjoy writing and then voicing the stuff that I've written. Some of it I do out of necessity. Like there's definitely times at which I wish that I had a larger group of people to do voices for the videos, so that it doesn't all sound exactly the same. But sometimes it's like, yeah, no, I think my voice will work really well for this.
I think it's part of the charm, like especially with something like the Detective Heart of America feature, like that end credit card of just like, and Jason Steele as, and then just a block of text.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like I'm always really charmed by movies where it's like it's clear that there was like there could be multiple people working on it, but there was like definitely one driving force behind it.
Like,
and so I with Detective Heart of America, The Final Freedom, it's like I don't know that it's a great movie. I think it's good. I think it's all right, but it's definitely unique. There's not I don't think there's another movie quite like it. So
I don't think there's anything else quite like it.
This is what I'll say about it, Jason. I've seen a lot of YouTube related movies that are being released on YouTube. Like I've seen the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. I've seen the Smosh movie. I've seen a lot of those movies that kind of are built up. And just in comparison, yours does blow them out of the water because it's it's something that, granted, yes, there isn't that necessary expectations that I feel like, need to be met, because it's Jason Steele. It's your random comedy that I love, so I don't expect anything. But
you're saying you don't expect anything from film? What does that even mean? What do you mean by that? That sounds like an insult.
I am highly insulted. I'm going to end this interview and run away right now. I'm going to slam the microphone on the desk.
Damn it! I'm trying to. Okay. You're always throwing me under the bus, David.
I'm sorry.
Every interview.
Every single time.
Oh, okay.
No, I tried to make sure that the movie was, if anything, just like a really good version of a Detective Heart of America movie. So like what you would want out of a feature-length version of that short. So like it's not. I feel like you can definitely lose what was great about the thing to begin with sometimes, and so I tried at least to preserve the essence of the thing and give a reason for it to be longer than a traditional short. So I have like the pretty complicated sci-fi plot that Heart of America is just not really getting, and so yeah, I think it's just important to preserve what made the thing funny to begin with.
Yeah, no, I feel like the second thing I was going to say, too, with that is that I would put your film kind of up in the same genre as, one of my favorite movies, Kung Pao Enter the Fist, because that's exactly what it was. It was one guy doing all the voices, pretty much like spearheaded the film himself, and you just see the passion and you see the funny that only that person could really pull off.
I'm glad you said that, because while I was making the movie, the entire time, like, I was saying that I really want this movie to be my Kung Pao Enter the Fist. That is the movie that I was drawing inspiration from. So yeah, that's
awesome. Because I think you succeeded in that quest.
Oh God, that is my favorite movie. I quote that movie more so than anything. And
that's a lot of nuts.
He just left with nuts.
Swinging the chain.
Just that whole entire thing. Like, sometimes I introduce myself as Betty. I mean, like, gentlemen, from now on you will refer to me by the name Betty. Yeah. And immediately people are like, what? And I'm like, watch my favorite movie. Just do it. And now they're making a sequel to that, which is...
really?
Yeah.
I hope that turns out okay.
Me too.
Me too. And here's like one of the interesting things with you, Jason Steele, and with kind of like a lot of YouTube content creators is like I remember in like film school discussing like film theories and the whole auteur theory of just like, the one filmmaker who's responsible for everything, and defining somebody like, Woody Allen's an auteur because he writes and directs and stars in all of his movies. It's like, yeah, but there's these guys who do literally every part of their movie. Like, you've got people that you collaborate with as well, and who do other voices and stuff, but like, your content is Jason Steele. Your, Detective Heart of America is like, and that's... like, I honestly, like, it's like, I feel like a lot of those quote-unquote film auteurs, like, they're nowhere near the level of auteur as a lot of these goofy YouTube stuff, and like, even, Detective Heart of America is something that, like, I do think was so fantastic, and is something that I really hope, like, stays in kind of, like, the memories and the echelon of, like, really awesome internet things that have been made.
Yeah, like I said, I do hope it ends up being like Kung Pao for some people, because like I do like Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Like, me and my brother were really, really, really into that movie and quoted that back and forth to each other still to this day. And I'm like, I really hope that if anything, Heart of America ends up being that movie for someone. So like there's like some siblings somewhere or friends who quote the Heart of America movie back and forth with each other. And that was my goal. That's where I wanted that movie to.
That is a good goal to have.
It to become.
Oh yeah, that's a fantastic goal.
That's awesome. That's so great.
Going back to some of your videos, are you planning on ever doing any more live action stuff? Like, I know one of your favorite series was hit it with my car, hit it with a car. I think that's what it was with Chris. And
that was. I'm so disappointed that people didn't latch on to that series, because it's. I think a lot of people watched it and didn't really understand that none of it was supposed to be taken seriously.
Oh yeah.
That like it's not really one of those shows that it's. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the series where I'm actually disappointed by the response. I was really hoping that more people would be into it, because I watched that, and that's one of those videos, one of those series where a lot of my videos I rewatch, and it's like I like it, but I don't still laugh at it. Hit it with a car, I still crack up the whole time.
Well, I mean, the whole because I got the concept. I feel like you're. See, that's another thing too. I'll say just real quick is that your comedy and is very intellectual. It's a very intelligent comedy. So I'm not saying that the YouTube audience is dumb, but some people just might not understand satire. And that whole entire series was satire. It was a making fun of those like Top Gear and those crazy like science shows that have the fancy car, and then they're doing something crazy, and it's like something that is just normal, like something that would be, oh yeah, you're going really fast, and now you're slowing time down for some reason, and I
think people also didn't get that it's like these are characters and there's a story going on here, where it's like this is a story about Chris wanting to become internet famous, and just being kind of a terrible person, and
yeah. Well, the whole persona he puts up too, he's like purposefully trying to be a dick even though he's not. Like it's like that. He's like, whatever, let's go. And I just love it. So are you planning on doing any more like live action stuff in the future, or?
I love doing the live action stuff. It's harder to do that on YouTube now, because like it's hard enough to get people to see that I've released a video, and when I release the live action stuff, generally people don't even click on it anymore. So like I could put out an animation and a live action video, and the animation will get 2 or 3 times the amount of views. So like from a financial standpoint, like it's difficult to keep making those. But I do still want to make them just for the to fulfill that sort of artistic desire.
Yeah.
So yeah, there will definitely be more at some point.
And who knows? Maybe you could even like cross over the two, like fake them out, like do like an animation for like the first like 10-20 seconds, and then it just jumps into live action.
Yeah, that works like once, and then people just stop clicking on your stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, that's right. Or maybe the other way around.
I don't want to upset people.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
People get all angry and send me some angry letters, and the post office delivers like a package of just angry handwritten letters.
Now I'm just imagining if like somebody printed out every YouTube comment and then just like mailed each one individually.
That's a lot of mail. That's a lot of mail.
We've kind of talked about this topic a lot, about like kind of how YouTube has changed, and just like a lot of the ways that, you know, the types of videos that they promote, the type of videos that are found on there keep changing. Like, do you, as somebody who's been a part of YouTube, like as part of the online community of video making in general since kind of the beginning, like do you kind of anticipate like YouTube ever kind of changing back to some of a platform that would be your kind of thing, or do you think even that it might be a platform that goes away in the future?
I don't know if it's going to go away. Like, I think they've definitely started to find what works for them. I don't like they've launched their new YouTube gaming thing, which I don't know if they're going to be able to beat out Twitch, but they're definitely trying. And there's definitely a lot of YouTube animation people who are completely ready to jump ship if a new site comes along that deals better with animation.
Yeah.
So what you might end up seeing is another site that has sort of scripted videos and animations on it, and just people who do that sort of stuff leaving YouTube, and then YouTube becoming more a thing for just the content that thrives on it right now. So like vlogs and video game footage and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel with the video game YouTube, I'm kind of a little, I'm a little upset with that because on Twitch, if you have like music in the background or like copyrighted music, it at the end after you're done streaming it and it finalizes as a video you can look back at, then there's moments where it's like, oh, copyright, like, but during a stream on YouTube, they'll cut your stream if they sense that there's some sort of content ID, and also they know that this was going to happen and this was going to be anger people, because there's a little disclaimer note that says some streams may be abruptly ended because of copyright claims, even if they are false, and you own all rights to whatever you have in your stream. And it's like, what were they thinking? I mean, I don't know how that's going to hold.
That's definitely a big hurdle, especially if YouTube wants to top a competitor that's currently doing fine, which is Twitch.
Yeah.
Like I don't see a lot of Twitch people switching over to YouTube. You might see some people who are already big on YouTube who want to be doing video game stuff going there just because their audience is already there.
Yeah.
But I don't see people switching from Twitch. I don't think there's a reason to at the moment.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's like, I think YouTube's always been very like copyright kind of almost scared of like, just don't want to infringe any little thing that might seem like so much more than a lot of the other sites. But one of the things that we kind of have found in some of the people we talk to, just because a lot of the people we're talking to, like a lot of them just starting out, or maybe have been there for a little while, and there's a lot of talk about wanting to transition to more traditional forms of media, of like, well, I'm doing this internet thing, but I'd love to be doing this movie thing. Is that something that's ever been a goal of yours, to kind of be in the kind of an old media format? Yeah,
like the nice thing about, like, I've always kind of wanted to have like a show on Adult Swim or something. And I've pitched some shows unsuccessfully, but because there is definitely, like, when you have an actual budget for something, there's more that you can accomplish. Like right now, I'm very limited by the kind of animation that I can personally do, which is not much. Like I can draw in a kind of wonky way that works for the videos that I'm doing, but it takes me a long time, and the animation takes me a long time. And there's definitely concepts that I've had where I just end up scrapping it because it's like, it's not really feasible for me to be able to pull it off in a way that works. So there are definitely projects I have that really would only work with a budget where it's other people animating it. So I would love to, at some point, have a like an Adult Swim show or something like that, or even like a funded movie that has like an animated film that has a big enough budget that I'm not the one animating it.
Oh yeah, that. I mean, I would pay money to see that. I mean, I'd pay money to have you go on Adult Swim. I actually have friends who pitch shows to Adult Swim, and they've gotten all the way up to the top. And the main thing that got them was the head guy asked them, like, all right, so explain the show to me. And they said, or one of the guys in the group said, oh, it's like this meets this, and immediately. Like, because no one had pitched that line to anyone else up to that point, and that's what tanked them, was that Adult Swim wants shows that aren't like anything else. And I'm not saying that your shows are like anything else.
They're certainly not.
But just sometimes it's that pitch, you know.
Yeah, no, it's weird the sort of stuff that will tank a show. Like I pitched The Magical Realm of Horseman.
Oh yeah.
To Adult Swim years ago, and the ultimate reason it was rejected were because the characters were monochrome.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
and then there was, and Charlie the Unicorn, actually, they were interested in picking up as a show. But ultimately, I actually got to the point where I had a contract but I turned it down because it was going to be a really bad show.
Yeah.
Well, I could see that.
It's one of those things with old media still, like, because there's so many different factors into being like, well, what time is it going to be airing, and who's our competition in that time slot, and how is this going to be received, and just so many little details like that like the reasons stuff can get made in old media, can be kind of insane sometimes. Do you anticipate, like, keeping that freedom you have with the internet? Is that something? I mean, obviously you're still making still making stuff.
Yeah, like I will always kind of, like, regardless of what happens, I'm sure I will always continuously put out stuff online. Like I do enjoy, like, I do have a desire to work on bigger projects, but like if I was working nonstop on just bigger projects, then I'm sure I would start to want to do the silly internet stuff. So,
you always want what you don't have.
Yeah, you want to do a diverse group of things.
Yeah.
It's like doing the same thing over and over again, not always that fun.
Well, at least I'm glad that you're able to, in where you're at and the kind of content you're able to create. I'm glad that you are able to create the stuff that you do, because it's still really great. And like,
oh yeah,
even things like that. Seriously, Detective Heart of America. I can't remember the subtitle now.
The Final Freedom.
The Final Freedom. That's what it was. Yes,
It took me a long time to come up with a title for that. That was as ridiculous.
Subtitle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's definitely something I'm going to keep going back to. But yeah, that's great.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, I think we'll start wrapping up here. But before we do that, Jason, we always have our guest choose a YouTube pick of the week, a video that they find funny or a video they want to throw back to. What's your YouTube pick of the week?
I will YouTube pick of the week. It's a Neil Cicierega video.
Oh yeah. Oh, this ought to be good.
Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away, with lyrics.
Yes. Oh gosh.
I don't think I've seen this.
Oh,
I need to.
We'll see. Neil.
I put a link in the chat.
Perfect.
It's, for people searching on YouTube, Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away, and then in parentheses,
and
lyrics.
We'll have the link in our episode description as well.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to explain it, Jason, real quick? Just
yeah, it's in the style of like a old school YouTube Windows Movie Maker project, where people would upload video like songs with lyrics over them to pictures and stuff, and so it's in the style of that, where it looks like a late 2000s YouTube upload, except Neil Cicierega has chopped up the song to make it different, and it is it's about stuff that's different than the original song was about, and it's great.
It's fantastic. I feel like he's one of those. I want him on the show too. I've sent him an email, but I don't know.
I think we've talked about some of his stuff before. Haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we have.
We've mentioned, well, because he's. I mean, this is about Jason. Okay. I mean, well, we're gonna.
Neil Cicierega is a hero of mine. He is I don't know, the stuff he does. It's incredible. I'm such a Neil Cicierega fan.
Well, he's broken the internet like 3 or 4 times. Because the first time is with his Lemon Demon stuff, with the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny being on Albino Black Sheep. Then you have Potter Puppet Pals, and the fact that he toured with that, and he did like birthday gigs and proms and stuff with that. That was crazy. And then he had Brody Quest, which now everybody and their dog is making mashups with. And then now he's doing mashups professionally. And like...
anyone who hasn't should check out his albums Mouth Sounds and Mouth Silence.
Oh yeah, I was listening to him this morning actually, like while I was taking a shower. I was just like, oh man, Chop Suey mixed together with Crocodile Rock is just the best thing. But yeah, so all right, so that's Jason's pick of the week.
Awesome. Jason,
Fly
it's been
Away.
so great talking to you. This has been so much fun. Where can people
good talking to you.
Yeah, where can people find your work?
Like social medias.
http://
We actually did that on our last episode.
www.filmcow.com/ and then on YouTube I'm youtube.com/c/filmcow. I got http:// www.twitter.com/filmcow. Any of those should work.
All right. You hope you had a
Or
pen and paper.
AOL keyword film cow.
Oh yeah, man, I would love to be able to get an AOL keyword now.
That would be great.
That would be amazing. Just grab one of those old CDs, just put it in, install AOL, boot it up.
That's right. It
AOL
still
keyword
required
film cow.
that was when you still required a CD to install something.
Yeah, and it came out on like floppy initially, and then it
Oh.
was CDs.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god.
It goes all the way back to the floppy days.
That's awesome. Thanks again, Jason. You've been so much fun to talk to.
And, oh
Yeah,
gosh.
thanks for having me on.
It has spoken. He has told us the way. And there it is.
Oh,
Jason
man.
Steele. The man, the legend, the Empire King.
Thank you so much, Jason. That was wonderful.
That was fantastic.
Without further ado, Michael, what's your YouTube pick of the week?
Oh, it's a doozy, David. This actually is. I think this might get a lot more traction than because we're going to be recording. We've recorded this in the distant past, from the day that this is being released. But I think it'll probably be a lot more viral now. So the original video is entitled E3 Weird Gamer Guy. And you'll know it's the original because it's being uploaded by Tessa Smash. Okay? Now, this was E3 back in 2012. Alright? And it just starts off being like a standard, interview, like person talking to people like at E3, all the different cosplayers and stuff like that. And then she runs across this weird gamer guy. And she's like, so, can I just interview you? You're like a gamer, right? Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Just like, and he is the weirdest, like the weirdest. But I mean, I want you guys to like pause pause our episode right now. Go listen to it because
Okay,
I'm
I'll
about to
pause the
spoil it
recording.
for
I'm
you.
just kidding.
Don't pause the record. Just pause. I'm giving you a second here. Okay, now.
And we're back.
And we're back at Dinosaur's Tale. So, you've watched the video. There's also another video that he did, where he's talking about being a Satanist. And, this was live broadcast on the news, like, look for that too. But this guy is an actor. This video went viral, kind of, sort of, back in 2012. It went all the way to Nerdist, and Nerdist did a thing. This guy is an actor. This guy is a screenwriter. He is hilarious, and he still is working at Nerdist. He's still a writer. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I'm sure you guys will figure it out when you look him up. I think it was like Adam Bowser or something like that, and something awesome and gamer-like. But definitely, he's absolutely a trip, and I think everybody who just have now watched it will realize just how ridiculous he is, and how now he's going to be internet famous again. Because it's happening. I've seen it multiple times on Facebook this week, and it's only going to get bigger.
I'm going to go ahead and flash back to one of the early YouTube sketch groups.
Okay.
Derek Comedy.
Ooh.
Which is a name that people are like, Derek Comedy, what is that? I'm like, well, have you ever heard of DC Pearson? Have you ever heard of Donald Glover?
Childish
They all
Gambino?
Came from, Mystery Team. Or, friggin' Troy in Community. They came from this YouTube comedy group called Derek Comedy. They have some great videos. I want to plug one of my favorites, which is Keyboard Kid. Just go watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Just speaking of, like, it's really darkly funny. Yeah, go watch that. It's amazing.
Kind of fits in tune with some of Jason's videos.
Yeah, no, we were talking about, like, how some of his stuff goes kind of dark, and, yeah, this definitely fits with that. Yeah. Michael, people like you, and I hope they do. I mean, I like you. Not like that.
Oh.
But
Okay.
where can they find more of you?
Well,
Maybe if they like you like that.
if you like me like that, just let me plug out my number. No, if you guys like me, I guess follow me on Twitter at Arctic_Ginger. Follow me on Instagram and at Michael William Hunter. Really, just type in Michael William Hunter. That's all you need to do because everything will pop up.
And you can find me on Twitter at David W. Spencer. You can find the show on Twitter at tynetpod and also on Facebook under the same name.
You can also send us emails at thanksinternetpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your suggestions, your YouTube pics. Send us a message if you want us to read it on there. Maybe we will. Huh?
And also, if you can find more of our episodes at pipedreampodcasts.com.
That's right. Everything will be right there. And, also, if you want to see our schedule for what's coming up later this month, it's also on there on the banner, so go
to the website.
Look at it!
And a week and a half from now, I'll be at the LA Podfest. Find me there.
Boom.
Ooh, you know what? I have to request the internet something real fast.
Ooh.
Okay. Job websites, because I've been job hunting, and it's annoying, but I finally won't have to job hunt, hopefully, for at least a little while. Friggin' every single website, every single job is like, oh, we'll put your information in little bit by bit by bit. And it's like, okay, I gave you my resume on Indeed, it's there, but every single friggin' job, like, has a different service of doing that. And if everybody could just streamline and be like, hey, here's all the information, so I don't have to enter it in 1,000 times for you. Just freaking look at my resume and use that. That's what resumes are for, is so all the information is easily accessible. I don't want to have to retype everything, you pieces of garbage.
Yeah, honestly, if there was a website that just was called, like...
It's called Indeed.
What?
Well, Indeed. It's a great job hunting website.
I know. I meant, like, if there was a website that was just for resumes...
That's fair.
And then you could link that like...
Yeah.
And then that's it. Like
is that what LinkedIn does? No, because even then...
No, LinkedIn is more of a...
Gotcha.
a social thing, even. No, I definitely... If that website
basically
was to
what
exist,
I'm saying...
make money, man.
Yeah. Basically what I'm saying is companies learn to use the internet more efficiently.
Yeah.
Upsets me.
Because it's kind of hard to maneuver around certain job websites. Like, I mean, I've been looking for a job,
man.
And I decided just to be content because of how frustrating it can be.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
It's the worst, man. Worse like Fred Durst, man. That's video game donkey for you. Anyways, so that's enough.
Thank you, Internet.
Thank you, Internet.
Do you want me to take half of that?
What?
Like, do you want me to take like
Sure.
half? Yeah.
Take it. Just take it. Take another little piece of my heart now, baby. Okay, I'm sorry.